Hello, today we are going to discuss cancer. So, little recap from previous content. Um, the image on the left is the life cycle of the cell, and during this life cycle of the cell, there are a series of checkpoints that happen to make sure everything is okay. How those checkpoints work is that there are cyclin proteins that bind to cyclin-dependent kinases or CDK enzymes. Different combinations of protein, cyclin protein, and this different CDK enzymes sends different signals and messages to say, hey, at this checkpoint, we can move forward, or hey, we cannot move forward. Something's wrong. When a cell fails to meet a certain checkpoint, the cell will go through apoptosis, which is basically the programmed cell death. The cell basically terminates itself to prevent its unhealthy, error, wrong nature from continuing to develop. Now, what happens when a cell doesn't go through apoptosis when it should, or basically when these errors continue without any, consequence to eliminate them? That is getting cancer. Okay. So, definition of cancer: a disease caused by an uncontrolled division of abnormal cells in a part of the body. Okay. So, cancer, when that happens, the cells divide more rapidly than they would if they were not cancer cells. And then because they're just cells with errors and problems with them, they're usually kind of deformed, kind of funky looking cells like you can see in the GIF above. All right, what causes cancer? Cancer is a result of exposure to carcinogens, which are mutagens that specifically can cause cancer mutations. Errors in the life cycle, errors in mitosis, all of those can contribute to cancer. Cancer is harmful and deadly by crowding out healthy cells, greatly impeding their group behavior that results in the loss of tissue and tissue function. So basically, when cancer cells surround or divide healthy cells, those healthy cells basically are drowned out of their nutrients and resources because if cancer cells are dividing much more faster, that means they're using up more nutrients and resources. Same thing for defenses. These cells can't really share their defenses if cancerous cells are growing between them and much faster or at a higher rate than cells can, defend. So basically, cancer cells, again, they snuff out all the nutrients available. They take that all for themselves, and they greatly impede group behavior. This causes other healthy cells to start slowly dying. So, cancer typically manifests itself in the form of a tumor. Okay? A tumor is a swelling of a part of the body, generally without inflammation, caused by an abnormal growth of tissue, whether benign or malignant. Okay? So, as said in that definition, there's two main kinds of tumors: benign tumors and malignant tumors. Benign tumors basically have this one large connective membrane surrounding them. So as we can see in the top right picture, that is a benign tumor. It's basically got one giant extra kind of cell membrane around all of the cancer cells inside. Now, when a tumor is benign, that means you can often remove it with surgery, depending on the place, because since it is all those cells are surrounded by that large connective membrane, you can just take all the cancer cells out in one big piece. Malignant tumors, however, are tumors that don't have that connective membrane surrounding all the cancer cells. Those cancer cells can divide and spread and cause a lot of harm to other tissue and organs because they're not trapped by that connective membrane. They can do whatever they want, essentially. They can spread to you whatever they want. Between the two, malignant is worse than benign. All right, so the genetics of cancer. There's many different things that go into cancer. There are many different kinds of cancer, but simply, this is going to be cancer explained. So very simple. So there are two main genes involved in causing cancer. There is the oncogene, which stimulates the rate that cells go through the cell life cycle. So oncogene makes the cell life cycle go through it faster, while the tumor suppressor gene adheres or slows down the rate that cells go through the cell life cycle. If each of the above genes are mutated, cancer is treated. Cancer usually occurs at older ages because more time has passed for errors or mutations of these genes to occur. Additionally, more time to be exposed to carcinogens. Okay, so obviously you can still be a young person or even an infant who gets cancer. It's just, unfortunate circumstances depending on when these mutations occur. But usually cancer develops in older individuals because it's just more time again passing for mutations and errors to. Okay, so how I learned about these two genes was through an analogy from light switches, so I will express the same analogy to you watching. So think of these light switches as two different genes located at two different regions of the DNA. So we know the oncogene is one gene and the tumor suppressor gene is another gene. So again, there are two different parts of the DNA. In a healthy, non-cancerous person, the tumor suppressor gene is turned on while the oncogene is turned off. So with the oncogene turned off, the cells are going, actually with both the oncogene turned off and the tumor suppressor gene turned on, cells are going to grow and divide at a normal rate. The tumor suppressor gene is on to, again, slow those cells down to make sure they don't grow and divide too quickly, and just the oncogene is off in a healthy, non-cancerous person. Opposite thing, though, is with an individual with cancer. So the oncogene is turned on, so cell cycle is highly stimulated, and then the tumor suppressor gene is turned off. So not only is the cell cycle very stimulated, but there's also nothing to hold it back. The tumor suppressor gene is turned off. So that's, just two genes, two contributors to why cancer, spreads so quickly is because of these two genes. All right, so if only one of each gene is mutated, so if the tumor suppressor gene is mutated, be turned off, then cells will not be limited in their growth and cell division will lead to cancer. If the oncogene is mutated to be turned on, then cells will be overstimulated and likely cause errors in cell division that lead to cancer. So what each of these statements are saying is that if only one of these cancer-causing genes is mutated, it will make the biological processes of the cell life cycle and cell division happen poorly until the other cancer-causing gene is mutated. This again resulting in cancer being efficiently present. So even if only one gene is mutated, you're still not out of the clear. It's just a matter of time before, being under worse conditions that the cell makes another error that happens to be the other mutation. So I prefer or understand better the analogy of these genes with the light switch analogy, but on Google I find a lot of analogies for this for race cars. So with the left image, I like this one because you can see how one gene is first mutated and how that can then affect the mutation of the other gene. And then the image on the right is similar, but it basically says like the oncogene, so stimulating the cell cycle, that's like pressing the gas. And then the tumor suppressor gene would be like a brake, so slowing it down. So when you have cancer, it'd be flooring the gas with no brake bulb. Thank you for watching. Please share and subscribe, and remember to spread kindness.